You're listening to the Spirit Podcast.
Hi, friends, and welcome to the Spirit. I'm Beck.
And I'm Steph.
Hey, Steph.
Hey, Beck.
What do you think about the monoliths? We can't stop talking about it.
Yeah, I know. How many are there now?
There's over 50.
Wow.
There's actually a Wikipedia page.
Wow.
It's got a list of the 2020 monoliths.
Anyone know any of the people that have done it?
I think some of them have come forward saying they're the artists. But then there's, I think the newest one just came out of Australia. It had hieroglyphs on it with coordinates.
Wow.
I don't even know if it had hieroglyphs. It was just etched coordinates, I think. And
Like laser etched.
yeah.
I'm guessing they're trying to amp it up and one up the other.
I think so. Let's go down the list and see what they have, okay? Monoliths by location. Okay, so in Europe, we've got Belgium, Czech Republic, Finland, France, Germany, Hungary, Italy, Netherlands, Norway, Poland, Romania, Russia, Slovenia, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, United Kingdom, Ukraine. Now in North America, we have Canada, and then California in the U.S., Colorado, Michigan, Nebraska, Nevada, North Carolina, New Mexico, Pennsylvania, Texas, Utah, Washington, D.C. Now they're showing up in Australia. So I think that was the newest one, and that one had 4 separate coordinates marked on the side. And the coordinates were 1 to the Trump Tower, 2 to Managaha. Am I saying that? Managaha Island? I don't know what that is. The Mariana Trench and the Sphinx in Egypt. That's where the coordinates were etched onto it. Central America, we have Panama. South America, you had Colombia, Paraguay. I think that's it listed right now. Actually, it looks like the newest one is Paraguay, but I could be wrong. They just keep coming.
It's an easy thing to make if you have, buy sheets of metal, make triangular shaped piece, and then maybe weld it together. I don't know.
I guess, but I think they're all kind of different.
They are. That every time I see it on the news, it looks like the same thing.
Yeah,
Unless they're just repeating the original one. I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure many of them do look like the sheet metal that it's, but some of the arch tops are different, the angles, and some of them look like they're thinner.
Well, I'm going to make one.
Okay, where are you going to put it?
Your backyard.
Awesome.
Yep.
Is it going to be the new portal?
It's going to be made out of pasta.
Well, I get flooding back there, so it's definitely going to cook down quick.
The birds will eat it. The squirrels will come.
The pasta monolith. People will come from all over with jars of ragu.
As long as they don't mind the glue, the Elmer's glue. That's keeping it all together.
You're going to use Elmer's glue?
Well, that's the safe one that's not toxic.
Oh, okay. It's edible. That's right. Yeah. Kids used to eat that in elementary school. I never understood that.
I walked in on a student that wasn't allowed to go to recess. And we all came in the classroom and his head was on the desk and there was Elmer's glue coming out of his mouth and seeping onto the floor. It was like he ate so much of it, it made him sick.
I remember kids in art class, they would have those wooden tongue depressor sticks and they'd be stirring the glue. And they'd be just taking out and eating it like it was frosting. Although I was kind of a sucker for smelling rubber cement.
Yeah, I liked the gasoline smell, the rubber cement smell.
And the marker,
and markers,
the serious marker scent. And what's another weird one that I like? Tennis balls. Like fresh can of tennis balls.
That is kind of funky though, because I just started playing tennis this summer.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't wait to smell the tennis ball smell. And I was like, open it up. And I was like, ew.
Really?
I didn't like it. I used to like it.
I used to like it. Maybe it's changed as we get older. Our taste changed. So maybe now I'd break it open and be like, oh, that's like rubber ass. So what's today's show going to be about?
Well, if anyone has ever heard of conspiracy theories.
Oh, our favorite.
It's about musicians and the conspiracy theories. So we're just going to list a few things. I'm going to feature the 27 Club. I think a lot of people have heard of that, but some people haven't. And you're going to be talking about Paul McCartney is dead.
Yes.
He's not the real Paul McCartney. He died a long time ago.
He's the faux McCartney.
And also the weird phenomena, if anyone's ever noticed, and I try to look this up, there is no information on this, but there's a lot of famous people, including musicians, but other celebrities, that when they do these like professional photo shoots, they cover their eye with their hand or they cover it with their hair or an item. And it's been done so many times that there's a conspiracy that's like an Illuminati symbol.
I mean, it makes sense if they keep doing it. There's something up with that.
I know, or it's the same photographer and he can't think outside the box. I don't know.
Yeah, but how long has this been going back for? Do we have an idea?
I don't know. I think that actually the Beatles have
I think
images
they do.
of that. So
Yep.
It does go back. In that whole time period when rock and roll was just getting so huge, I think there's a lot of conspiracy theories about musicians being Satan worshipers and, subliminal messages.
Well, you have that movie Crossroads with Ralph Macchio.
I never saw it. I know what it's about.
Okay. So for the listeners that don't know, and I'm dating myself here because I think this was back in the 80s this came out. Mm-hmm. But it was about a kid that was trying to play the blues guitar, and he basically signed his soul to the devil. Or maybe he didn't, but somebody he emulated did. I don't know, it was odd. But anyway, most of the conspiracies are set that these musicians sign their souls to the devil to gain massive popularity. And in some cases, there's some weird stuff around it that does kind of point to that. I mean, let's get into it before we hit the 27. In the documentary with Lady Gaga, I remember a part in there where she starts crying and she's sitting down on the side of a car and she keeps talking about how she should have never signed the deal with the man. A lot of speculation went into the fact that she signed this deal with the devil, basically, or somebody in the high up ranks that says, we own your ass if you sign, and we'll give you, #1 albums. But I think there's some weird stuff.
I'm not too familiar with this story. I know that a lot of the music videos that she has done, and I think a lot of them in general, they use cult symbolism, they use dark imagery. I don't know if that reflects what they believe or if that is just a way to draw people to the video because it's so different.
Could be. What about one of the Led Zeppelin guys? Was it Jimmy Page who bought the house?
Yeah, Aleister Crowley's house.
Yeah, and Aleister Crowley was kind of involved in a lot of music somehow.
Yeah, supposedly he has been kicked out of several countries. He used to do like a form of the Black Mass, I think, like his own version. I don't think like the Anton LaVey style Black Mass. And he also, I think, raped his own son or did something terrible. He was a really bad, disturbed person.
He was. And if you guys really want to freak out, there's a YouTube documentary on Aleister Crowley, and it is creepy, man.
He's not a good person at all. But yet he's gotten this attention from musicians, especially because even the Beatles have him in I think one of their album covers. Obviously wasn't in there live. It was like an image of him in there, not because he died a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's weird how when you talk about secret societies and people who are in the occult, we don't know from our side what's really going on. And it can either get out of control and huge and the story's completely off, or part of it is true. I'll give an example of something that I learned even about the Catholic Church. So this present Pope that's in now was elected, like it's supposed to be like a college of cardinals that pray, and the Holy Spirit gives them the person they're going to elect. And this is the way it's always been done for a couple dozen years, I guess. So after he was elected, this cardinal comes out and said, his name is Cardinal Daniels of Belgium. You can look this up. He said it on a video. I saw it myself. Because we got Pope Francis elected. We're like a mafia-like group. We call ourselves the St. Gallen Mafia. Well, I guess a group of cardinals were coming together in St. Gallen, Switzerland. Ironically, use this place, I guess, that supposedly Aleister Crowley used to use to do black masses.
Weird.
Yes, very weird. And someone had put that together on another YouTube channel saying that Aleister Crowley definitely stayed at this place. This whole town, there's something wrong with it. And I heard Cardinal Daniels himself say it. And that was so disturbing and eye-opening about what goes on with these very powerful people. The head of the Roman Catholic Church is really powerful. Like he's known throughout the whole world and he's affecting millions of people. So I think there's something to that. There are people who use their money and use their power to do what they want. And I think that musicians and actors and all them could do that. I don't think it's as organized as we might imagine it. Like they all meet at Bohemian Grove or something, But I think there's something. Know. And I think there's a lot of people that up front look like decent, wonderful people, but then you find out later that they were terrible. And you're like, wow, you would have never have known.
Right.
So I have a tendency to think there is something.
I think about some of the bands that have skyrocketed into fame, and then I think about all the local musicians we know, and the tons of musicians that are super talented that don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And you do have to wonder, is there somebody or something deep and evil out there that is making contracts with these people? I don't know. But let's dive in. I can start with one weird thing I came across before we go into the 27 Club.
Sure.
That Stevie Wonder isn't blind.
Yeah.
Now, there was a video, and in this video, and you can YouTube this, you can go in and type in Stevie Wonder catches a microphone stand. He's singing Hey Jude with Paul McCartney, weirdly, or faux McCartney for all we know. And in the video, they're singing na 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 na, and Paul goes, or faux Paul, goes running down past everyone, and as he does, he hits this microphone stand, and this microphone stand kind of flips towards Stevie Wonder, and Stevie just randomly puts his hand out and kind of catches it between his hand and his arm, on his forearm. Now, here's what's weird. Like, I know blind people have a little bit of...
I think they have extra sensory with their ears and other things because they have to rely on them more.
Right, but they're singing very loudly at this point. So I don't know how he could have heard that microphone stand. I don't even think that made a sound. And if it did, I don't know if you could hear it over everyone singing. He weirdly catches it. And I don't know what to think of that. I've watched it a few times. Steph, you've seen it?
Yeah, I did see it.
What do you think?
It's one of those things where I did think until you just brought up now, because I didn't think about the loudness of the stage, but that people who are blind are really good at listening.
Right.
And he might have heard it. You can kind of tell what direction it's going to fall just from your ears, you know? So I thought, maybe, but then you're right. It's so loud. And I don't know if there was any vibration from it either. Like he could probably feel, if he's, you know, really blind, he could feel Paul McCartney run by.
Right.
And he could have felt and somewhat heard him knock the microphone. And maybe he just put his arm out like out of reflex, but then, you know, wasn't maybe seeing it, but just out of reflex and ended up being right. And he caught it just out of, you know.
It's just weird. It's just weird. And the only other weird thing that tied in that I found kind of credible was Shaq. There was an interview with Shaquille O'Neal, and he was talking to some sports announcers, and he was saying how, and you can find this on YouTube too, by the way, but he talks about how he's standing in a building, and he's getting ready to get on an elevator, and Stevie walks up and says, "What's up, Shaq?" And Shaq's kind of like, "Whoa, okay." And Stevie hits the elevator button. They get on the elevator. He hits the button to get off the floor he needs to, and then he just gets off the floor. If you watch Shaq tell that on YouTube again, it is a little weird. I don't see Shaq lying about that.
Now, do you think that maybe Stevie's like not completely dark blind, that maybe is partially blind, like legally blind? He can't maybe drive, but he can
That's what
see
I'm
some
thinking.
things?
That's what I'm thinking. That's the only possibility, because, I mean, why would, okay, the only thing is why would you pretend to be blind?
I don't know. I don't think he would. That would be a really awful way to live. But, you know, if the Illuminati are controlling you, like, listen, this is what you got to do.
Right.
We're going to make millions.
I know. But he's such a prolific and amazing. Yeah, he's amazing. He wouldn't need that conspiracy to back it up. But the only thing I can say is I agree with you. I think it's just, maybe it's like a low light situation. Maybe he can kind of see shadows. But that doesn't explain how he knew that was Shaq. But Shaq's a big dude, so maybe he knew. I don't know.
His psychic abilities are extremely high.
Yeah.
My sister Jessica, back in the early 80s, we were both in elementary school. She was probably in like the 3rd or 4th grade. Her best friend's parents had gotten tickets to see Stevie Wonder and invited Jessica to go. And I was so jealous.
Yeah.
Because if you remember, like on the Cosby Show, when Stevie Wonder was on there, it was probably my favorite episode.
I love Stevie.
Yeah. So she said that she went to go to the bathroom, and when she's coming back, that's when the lights dimmed and he was coming out. And he said that he came down at the aisle she was going down, and with like an entourage of people, and they were going to put him up on stage.
Yeah.
And she says she was literally right in front of him, and she was, I could see Stevie Wonder. She was, but he couldn't probably see me.
Or maybe he could.
I know. Now we're like, well, maybe he did see her. She was so excited about that.
All right, Steph, I promised you we're going to go into the 27 Club. But before we do, let me just do one backmasking message. And if you don't know what backmasking is or reverse messages, you're going to go down a rabbit hole if you check this out on YouTube. So there's people actively listening to popular bands and musicians and listening to their music in reverse. And a lot of messages that are coming out in reverse seem to be satanic or Illuminati driven. But this one's kind of sad, and I just want to play it for the audience. It's Miley Cyrus. It's a song called The Climb. I'm going to play it forward first. Forward, it says, it's all about the climb. Keep the faith, keep your faith. So let me play that now.